This, guys, is my 2048 time capsule. I'm going to put it down because it's really heavy. This is my 1980s time capsule. It felt really weird to me when we all reached the year that's chosen as the future in Back to the Future 2, one of my favourite movies as a kid. And now we're all living in the future of that future.
On Wednesday, October 21st, 2015. 2015? You mean we're in the future?
Flying cars, jaws in 3D and self-tying shoes are still what I picture the future looking like, even though we're living in the future of that future. Thinking like this makes me feel nostalgic, which is another way of saying I feel really old. As a young kid, I was a right computer nerd. I loved my NES, my Mega Drive, and my Atari ST. I played with my Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and my He-Man figures, and I watched movies rented from my local VHS store. I was literally an extra from Stranger Things. As a 45-year-old man now, I still collect retro computer games and old 80s figurines, and occasionally I watch the odd movie with my kids, but instead of Back to the Future, I'm now lumbered with watching musicals because I have 2 girls. Except my youngest loves Stranger Things, so we watch that. Now, I don't know about you, but thinking about the things that made me happy as a kid, when I was a kid, like my old He-Man action toys, my computer games, and the movies that I used to like to watch, thinking about those things makes me really, really nostalgic. It was then, back at the start of 2020, when I was visiting my mum and dad's, the house that I grew up in, for New Year, that I remembered this old shoebox. An old shoebox that I hid inside the loft, my mum and dad's loft, when I was about 8 or 9 years old, so towards the end of the 1980s. Now, obviously, I didn't tape up and hide an empty shoebox for some reason, which I can't quite remember. I've tried because I wanted to put it in the video, but I decided to fill it with all my favourite things, or at least the favourite things that would fit inside a box like this. I do remember putting a comic book in here, or at least one of my He-Man figures, because they were my favourite things. I also think I put some of my pocket money in there too as well, because boy oh boy, pocket money was the be all and end all. I do know that it was full when I sealed it, and I hid it inside my mum and dad's very dusty old London terraced house loft, and I closed the hatch. I thought that was a good idea. This, guys, this is my 1980s time capsule full of nostalgic memories. Now, the only problem with my cunning plan was that I filled this shoebox with all of my favourite things, and I was an 8-year-old. After a week or two, I wanted all of my stuff back, so unfortunately, I opened it. This wasn't even the original shoebox, but the idea was a good one. 80s Ryan had the right idea. Use a shoebox. Even if he didn't have the patience to pull it off, that boy knew what he was doing. It's not even a shoebox, this is cat food. This is cat food we've been keeping in the garage. Now imagine being able to open a box now that you filled when you were still in primary school. Imagine how good that would be. And the best part, unless of course I made a £100 investment in Google or Apple, but I'm pretty sure I wasn't making clever investment choices in future tech companies as an 8-year-old. The best part would be the memories those items would invoke and the why. The why being the reason you have chosen to include them inside of your box in the first place. That would be the best part, unless you've invested in Apple. Okay, get in the chairs. Quickly though. So I decided to set about creating a new one with Tracy and specifically my 2 children, who were the unintended targets of this video. My 2 children, who were at the time both 10 and 12 years old. So we planned our new 2020 Condon family time capsule. And this is it. This is our completed 2020 time capsule. It's already finished and it's been sitting under my desk upstairs, under my editing desk, since we moved home several years ago. And I didn't know where to hide it. I knew where to hide it in my old house when we completed it, but I don't know where to put it now, which is why it's been sat under my desk for the last few years. I can't bury it in the garden as it's too big. The neighbours would call the police if an ominous mound, box-shaped mound, suddenly appeared under my patio. For obvious reasons. Now, when we made this time capsule back in 2020, I had just turned 40 years old. We decided that the girls won't open the time capsule until at least the year 2048, which is when both of them will be the same age as me when we originally created that time capsule back in 2020, because I'm 45 now as I make this video. I mean, the same age as me, one will be 41 and the other will be 39, I think. I think I've got my maths correct. Whatever, they will be roughly the same age as me when we made this thing. That's what I'm trying to say. We had a plan. I didn't want them to throw just anything inside this box. You know what we can be like as kids. We just put whatever we can see in the box without thinking about nostalgia. Kids don't have nostalgia. So I set them 3 questions they had to answer before they filled it. So this is our time capsule video, and your job is to come up with the parameters for the time capsule.
Don't you bury it in a hole?
You could do, some people do, but if you bury something in a hole in the ground, it's going to rot, isn't it? They planned it, not me, and I filmed the whole process. I filmed it back in 2020. How are things going?
Good. We've done all the planning, and then here. Wait, so we've done this page.
Are you finished with everything? All right. How much longer do you need?
5 minutes.
5 minutes. You said that 20 minutes ago. The questions were, what things would you like to put inside it? So the girls wrote a really, really long list on a flip chart pad, and they took this process really seriously, which I really, really appreciated them doing this. The thing is, it was during lockdown, so we had a lot of time on our hands.
Shall I go through it?
So you've done all your planning,
Yeah.
and you've got all the details of the time capsule.
Yeah. So this is page 1, and then page 2, and then.
Right, are you ready? You want some sweets?
Yeah, we're not having sweets in the house.
Question number 2 was, what were they going to be stored inside? What were the items going to be stored inside to protect them? This question also helped whittle down the items from question 1, because if we were going to put everything that was on the list from question 1, then they would have needed a storage container to make it all fit. Now, because I filmed the whole process back in 2020, I actually thought all of this footage of them planning and filling the time capsule would make a good video in itself. I actually thought it would be really good if I could somehow get it inside the time capsule itself. Now, this video I'm making here is like the movie Inception, where I'm making a time capsule video about a time capsule video. However, this video's giving me a headache. However, I did make and edit that original 2020s video, and I titled it our 2048 Time Capsule Movie, and uploaded it to YouTube on New Year's Eve of 2020, where it remained live for several months until I had another brainwave. I had another idea, guys. Instead of leaving it on my channel, what if I scheduled it to go live? What if I scheduled that, our time capsule movie, to go live on the 1st of January 2048. Now, I thought this was a genius idea. I was really happy with myself. So I made it private shortly after upload. The video only had 72 views anyway. My channel was non-existent at the time, and it sat like that ever since. The only problem is YouTube doesn't allow videos to be scheduled past 2 years into the future. So every now and then I go in and I move its upload date further ahead. It's really annoying, but I think the payoff for my kids especially, who don't even watch my videos because I'm 45 years old and apparently it's not cool to be a YouTuber, however, that's besides the point. I know when they're 40, they're going to love the hell out of this. You're welcome, future daughters. I just hope I don't get hit by a bus anytime soon. So if you see this random video suddenly appear in a couple of years from now on my channel, you know something bad has happened to me. And I suppose it's at this point that I should say like and subscribe so you don't miss that video, I guess. They didn't decide on a cardboard box. I've put everything inside a cardboard box. Initially, their decision was a lunch box, which then moved on to a shoe box, which then moved on to something bigger and bigger. But I suggested paint tins. These paint tins. I need to get it out of the box.
Whoa!
These are the paint tins.
Can I have one? Lovely.
So they're the tins, and inside they've got the special lacquer, so it stops any moisture getting inside. So once they're sealed, they're sealed. So obviously the lid's like a paint tin. Now I will say really quickly, as a disclaimer to myself more than anything, over the past few years since we made that box, I've added some items to its contents. I really probably shouldn't have, because it was their time capsule. Now the reason why I've done this is I think they'll appreciate it when they eventually do open it. I'm not going to show you now what's inside the box, as that defeats the purpose of them seeing it for the first time in the future, especially if all they have to do is click on and watch this video to see the contents. But in a nutshell, I will quickly say that they're things like newspaper articles from big world-changing events that happened during their life or during their young life, hard drive backups of all of our family photos, home movies, and of course a special message from both their mum Tracy and myself to them in the future. My name's Daddy, aka Ryan. Now remember, they're young kids to us when we filmed this back in 2020. They're still young kids now. So we tried really hard to speak to them as 40-year-old adults. This is
Mummy, aka Tracy.
They then both got to fill their paintings. This is Scarlett's, this is Maddie's. They then got to both fill them with their prized possessions on camera.
Put the lid on.
Seal the time capsule.
Yeah, you're gonna see that.
Dun, dun.
I'll see you in 28 years.
Yeah, okay. Bye.
They each wrote a letter to their future selves. They read their letters on camera, and then they put their letters inside it and then sealed their paintings.
Wait, so do I read the questions then go on to the letter?
And I'm 13, it's 2020.
Doing all of this, filling the time capsules, filling the paintings, drawing on them, planning it, that was all the fun stuff. Making that YouTube video that's going to go live on my channel in the future. My YouTube channel is my time capsule, not a He-Man figure inside a shoebox that was left in a dusty loft for 35 plus years, though that would have been pretty awesome to have been able to open it now. We're going to seal this now. Tracy and I filled and sealed our own painting. I'm not going to list everything we've done, except to say that I'm now going to seal this box. I'm going to put everything back inside. I'm going to tidy it up a little bit as well, and I'm going to permanently seal it so as I can't add anything more. Now this won't be opened for at least another 28 years from its original inception. I know people on YouTube love a coming soon premiere, apparently. How about this for a coming soon premiere? Don't forget to like and subscribe, turn on those notifications now for part 2 of this time capsule video that will go live in just over 2 decades, when I'll be 68 years old and hopefully still around to see them open it. Fingers crossed. Thank you very much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Something different. Cheers, guys.